face, same laughter, same cry. Nobody says that. A child is so fresh. As Rabindranath famously said, that's the genius of Rabindranath, who said, every child comes to the world with a message that God has not yet lost hope in man. So we see the face of God. If you believe in one, there could be non-believers, there's no problem. God is not worried about belief or non-belief. So what is said, God, oh God, don't digest this man's food. He doesn't believe in you. God will say, let him not believe, but he is my child, I will digest his food. The people who do not like the word God, many of them may not, you can replace it by nature. Nature is always fresh, always new. Similarly, the eternal scriptures. By scriptures, we mean those eternal truths which never become old, and those truths transcend time. They are timeless truths, just like the rising sun. So the Bhagavad Gita is also a text which is Purana. Although it is very old, it is never new. Pura api nava. That is the explanation which is given there. Pura api nava. Although it is eternally new, it is always ancient. The Bhagavad Gita similarly gives you the same message. Arjuna, to whom it was taught, as all of us know, Krishna Arjuna Samvada, the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Most of the scriptures in Hinduism are put in the form of a dialogue, conversation, Prashnottaramana, question and answer. Q&A is a common thing nowadays. And FAQ, everywhere, frequently asked questions. So you have questions and you need somebody to answer the question. Arjuna is representative of man. There is an ancient concept in our Puranas, ancient texts of Hinduism, which is called Nara Narayana Leela. Nara is representative of man, just like in Christianity called the Son of Man has not a place to lay his head. Jesus Christ said in the Sermon on the Mount in the Bible, in St. Matthew, foxes have their holes, birds have their nests. The Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Man with a capital M means a representative of mankind, of humanity. Narayana is the Supreme Being, God, the omniscient and omnipotent God, who has the right to teach mankind. We believe, following the Puranas, Vedavyasa has given to them the lore, ancient lore. In every age, Nara and Narayana come down together, and the teaching given by the Narayana, the Bhagavan, to the Nara, representative of mankind, is applicable to all of humanity. It is timeless and it is universal. Just like the great scriptures in the Bible and the Quran are universal in nature, the Bhagavad Gita, although put in a certain idiom of that time, is a universal scripture. Every age has an idiom. The present age is the idiom of science, and the most present age of today is the idiom of AI. Everything has been put in the idiom of AI, artificial intelligence. Everybody is running behind AI dominated, AI operated, everything, AI everywhere. That's the latest idiom. So the Bhagavan Sri Krishna also puts the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita in the idiom of the present day at that time. So Arjuna, what was the problem of Arjuna? Let's go back to Mahabharata, whose story all of us know to some extent. A terrible war was about to break out. The Pancha-Pandavas, the 5 of them, as against the 100 Kauravas, and the leader of the Kaurava gang group was Duryodhana, as you know, and they were exiled. When they came back, they said, give us 5 places, villages. No. It was 5 houses to stay. Said no. Finally, the war was inevitable. Kurukshetra war. It's symbolic, if you take it that way, of the war which is raging constantly within us. The two forces, the Asuric forces, called the demonic forces, the Bhagavad Gita, the diabolical forces, and the other is divine forces, the Devi, the courageous and the divine forces of the Devatas. It appears that the demonic forces always have the upper hand, but ultimately truth and divinity will triumph. We ask, how long should we bear with all this? What's happening in the world today? Conflict-ridden, strife-torn, panic-stricken, the world is most peaceless. But we go on. Why should people fight each other? We do not know. Everybody has a reason why they do. Everybody will have a cause for why I said what I said, and so on. We justify. Arjuna was a great warrior, and all of you know, Arjuna was an army general. He was leading the Pandavas. Not only was he a great warrior, but he was the leader of the group. He was the army general, he was leading the whole group, and he was full of valor, courage, prowess, skill in archery, and tremendous confidence in himself. In the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is called Arjuna Nishana Yoga, you see Arjuna displaying so much of courage. He tells Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Senayor Bhoyor Murtiratham Sthapayami Achyuta. O Achyuta, O Krishna. Krishna was a Sarathi, he was a charioteer, the driver of a car, that's all. Krishna was so simple and humble. He chose to become a Partha Sarathi. That means getting up early in the morning, getting the chariot to drive, shampooing the horses and feeding them and so on. As the driver gets a car ready for the owner of the car to go somewhere. Arjuna is commanding Sri Krishna, Senayor Bhoyor Murtiratham Sthapayami Achyuta. O Achyuta, O Krishna, O charioteer, O driver, put the chariot in between these two armies. I want to see the faces of people who are eager to die at my hands. Kair mayasa yodhavyam asmin rasamadyame avadeta niriksheham etatra samagataha dharta rashtrasya durbuddhe yudhe priyachikirishva. These are the statements in the first chapter. Who are the people so eager to die at my hands? I want to see the faces of these people. Come on, put my chariot betwixt these two armies. Sri Krishna being the Mayavi, Sri Krishna is a very intelligent character, very interesting character. You may not accept him as God, you may not accept him as the divine and so on. Even look at his personality, look at his pranks. He is a Bala Gopala, and he is a Gopi Vallabha, he is a Gita Acharya, he is a Mathuradipati. So many colors in which he displays. And all the time remaining so childlike, appearing so innocent, but extraordinary wisdom. Sri Krishna intelligently puts it between these two armies. Where did he put it? Bhagavad Gita, first chapter will tell you. Bhishma Drona Pramukataha Sarvesham Samhi Kritam. Just in front of Bhishma and Drona, and told Arjuna, Uvacha Partha Vashetan Svavetan Kuruvati. See all these people here in front of you. Arjuna saw Bhishma and Drona, who were his teachers, who taught Arjuna archery. Then he saw his own kids and kin, Acharyan, Mathuran, Bhratran, Putran, Sakimstada, broke down. I don't want to fight my own uncles, my own grandfathers, my my own fathers, my own teachers who taught me all that I know. Do you mean to say I'm going to kill them with this war? What for? For the little kingdom? I can never. Look at the moral dilemma. And Arjuna was right in that sense. A teacher teaches you, and with the vidya, with the knowledge he has given to you, you go back and then kill him. What kind of discipleship is this? He said, I cannot, I will not. The moral dilemma of Arjuna. This Arjuna syndrome is mentioned in the commentary of Sri Shankaracharya and others. What was the problem of Arjuna? What is his syndrome? He was overwhelmed by shoka and moha. These two words are used in Sanskrit. Shoka means sorrow, intense agony, anguish. Moha is delusion. Delusion, being deluded by what he should do and what he should not do. Karya, akarya. What is to be done, what should not be done is completely confused. On the one hand, he came to the war knowing full well that he has to face Bhishma, Drona, all his kids and Gini. Not that he did not know. He came to the war. He commanded Sri Krishna, put me in front of this. I want to see the faces of people who are eager to die at my hands. Come on. The moment he saw him collapsed. What was the reason? The Shankaracharya, the great psychologist, apart from being a philosopher, a spiritual person, all these great scriptures, highly psychological scriptures, they talk about the human predicament, human psychology, and the weakness of the human mind, by which the human mind brings upon itself all the misery. Remember, no misery is from outside. We bring those miseries to ourselves and find faults with everybody. That man is responsible. This woman has spoiled my life. Constantly putting the blame of this man, that woman, this and that. Little realizing it is because of our own karma, our own doing that we get all this. This is human nature. Human nature always blame the other man, blame the other context, continuously go on blaming everybody till you become a universal and accomplished and trained blamer. Find out the faults of others. We have not incarnated in this world to find the faults of others and make an encyclopedia and a dictionary and then become famous before that. Look at yourself. This is the teaching given by Sharada Devi at the last moment. Don't find faults with everybody. Look at your own faults. Naturally, Arjuna thought that I have been deceived. I never thought I'll be able to. I can kill these people. Collapsed. And the description is very graphic. Sidandi mama gatrani svachaiva paridakshate nachashakru vyavastatam pramadi vajave manaha. My head is reeling, I can't even stand for a moment. My hands are shaking. I can't even wield this weapon, the Gandiva, the bow. And he sat down, completely collapsing and said, Nayotsye Govinda Muktva Tushnim Babuvaha. He said, he declared to Sri Krishna, I will not fight. And kept quiet. Visajya Sasharam Chapam Shoka Samvignamanasa. That's what the first chapter ends. Shoka Samvignamanasa, overwhelmed by sorrow, throwing away his weapons, simply said. Imagine the situation. Conch shells were blowing on the either side. The war is just about to begin. When I teach it to our students, I gave the example. India-Pakistan World Cup final cricket. Terrible war is just about to begin, and the toss has been in the favor of Indian favor. Suddenly the Indian captain collapses, throws away his bat and pads and gloves and says, I will not fight. He starts crying, let the prize go to the other party. Millions and millions of people are watching the television, even directly. This is exactly the situation. Everybody is flabbergasted, confused. What's happened to Arjuna? Bhagavan Sri Krishna did not give him any medicine. What was the message he gave? There's a whip in his hand. He whipped it. Oh Arjuna, you're so unmanly. You're a coward. Come on, get up. Laivyam masnagamattartha hitatva yavapadyade kshudram hridayadolparyam tatva uttishtapadantapa. Come on, get up. Don't behave like a coward. Repeatedly this message is given to us, which was reiterated, re-emphasized and reinforced by Swami Vivekananda in the modern times. Be strong, be brave, be bold. Stand up to injustice and fight it. We are all afraid all the time. And we always take upon people who are very calm and collected and who are vulnerable people. We can't stand up to somebody who is very powerful. That's human nature. So Arjuna collapsed and Sri Krishna is continuously encouraging him to fight. He goes on arguing and arguing, endlessly he argues. At one point he tells Bhagavan Sri Krishna, his omniscient Lord, which we believe, he said, "Oh Krishna, you do not know what a terrible sin we are committing. Aho bada mahatpapam kartum vyavasiddhavayam. Yajrajya sukha lobhena. For the greed of a small kingdom, we are going to commit a huge sin, and you are forcing me to do this." There's a huge accusation against Sri Krishna in some countries. Communist countries who do not believe in God, as you know, they say Krishna is a warmonger. Arjuna wanted to be peaceful, Arjuna wanted to give up war, Arjuna wanted some kind of a treaty in which war and bloodshed would not happen. And this fellow Sri Krishna, Kal Yudhyasva, 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 come on, get up and fight. So Krishna is a warmonger. This is the accusation against Sri Krishna. Now to analyze the situation and put it in context. Sri Krishna was not telling Arjuna to fight because he wanted fight, he wanted war. He only told Arjuna to do his swadharma. Arjuna, completely overwhelmed with terrible shoka and moha, delusion and sorrow. Why? Because he saw his own people. He knew, but we actually directly encountered Bhishma, Drona, all his uncles, Acharya, Mathulan, Bhratran, Putran, Pautran, Sukhim, Sthita, Edanantam, Chami, Kritopi, Vasudana. I was not able to kill them, started crying. Literally it is said. Ashrupurna Apurikshanam, second chapter beginning. Great warrior like Krishna shedding tears in battle. Sri Krishna says, what will people think of you? They will say, Bhayad, Dranad, Vardam, Mansandetvam, Maharatha, Nindantastava, Samarthyam, Tudo, Dukkadar. There will be breaking news now. Arjuna collapses in battle and doesn't want to fight. And people will see you become very weak and cowardly, ran away from battle. Endless ill fame, ignominy will come to you. You, Arjuna, such a great valorous warrior. Never go do this. You do your swadharma. And Bhagavan Shankara, the great commentator, Bhashyakara, raises this question. See, these commentators do not merely interpret, they raise all kinds of counter questions, and which we normally ask and then try to answer. Shankaracharya raises the question, Arjuna's problem of Shoka Moha, he collapsed in battle, doesn't want to fight. For this, why did Sri Krishna bring up the highest Advaita philosophy in the second chapter about the Atman, Brahman and so on? And the Jayate, Briyadeva, Achet, Joya, Madash, Joya, Maklet, Joya, Sushri, Vajaya, Nainam, Chindan, Shastani, all those shlokas, you are the immortal spirit which nobody can kill. Fire cannot burn it, water cannot wet it. You are the immortal spirit. Why talk about Atman Jnana? The knowledge of the spirit, in order to induce Arjuna to do his swadharma. It's just like as we say in English, you try to bring up a cannon or a AK-47 AK-47 rifle to kill a mosquito. Nobody does it. The highest jnana, why is it bringing to bear upon Arjuna in order to induce him to fight? Then he himself answers this question, Shankaracharya, saying, Shoka Moha arising from what? The moment he saw his own kids and kin, Bhishma and Drona, immediately he was developing cold feet and refusing to fight. That is because aham yesham mama yete pranti pratyaya nimitta. These people are my own, I am their own. The moment the I and the mine, ahankara and mamakara, ami evam amar. Ramakrishna also says, ami amar tocha ukyan. Immediately say, my people, nobody is anybody's people. For some time we come together, like in a railway station, we travel together. In those days, plane travel is very less. Again, we are coming back to trains. You travel with a person for 24 hours, 48 hours. So we can pick up friendship, you have taken the phone numbers, etc. You never call them again. So it's a temporary. When your station comes, everybody will climb down. So everybody comes to the road of karma. Somebody for 70 years you have to be here, somebody 80 years, 90 years. When your time must come, you get down, and people cry for some time, they put your photograph or put some garland. That's it. So we think he is mine, she is mine, and so on. The moment you get the idea of I and mine, which is because of pranti pratyaya, which is because of delusion, immediately your intellect is clouded. You can't be objective. In the modern psychological language, you can't be objective when you have a special affinity to XYZ. That's why you know that the idea of the conflict of interest. In a selection committee, you can't be there if you have a very close relative attending the interview. Judges of the High Court and the Supreme Court called recusing oneself. They recuse themselves saying, my close relative there is there in the contesting of the case, so I should not be here. So the moment you say I and mine, you become nervous, you become completely confused. One great example is the best of surgeons, I know some of them, the best of neurosurgeons, the best of cardiologists, top people in the world, they will never operate in their own wife or children. When the doctor knows he is a top cardiologist, my wife is there, I have to operate, she will come down. He says, no, I refer you to one of my friends. So look at the psychology. He is a cardiologist, he is a cardiosurgeon, he is a neurosurgeon. He should equally be serviceable to everybody, but he can't. The moment he says, my wife, my child, immediately the objectivity is lost. You become extremely subjective, you become emotional, you become caught in a huge web of relationships. This happened to Arjuna. He is the Nara, a representative of mankind. All of us have the subjectivity, I and mine, and therefore Arjuna refused to fight. What was he doing there? He was refusing to perform his Swadharma. Swadharma is a very interesting concept in Bhagavad Gita, which is rather difficult to explain. I do a class for Italians online. One Italian professor was asking me, Swami, how do you define Swadharma in the Western context? Swadharma is usually understood in Indian context as Varnashrama Dharma. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, once upon a time, each person is assigned a particular task of Swadharma. The modern reincarnation of all this is already there. We don't call it Brahmana, Kshatriya. A person, a professorial person who teaches, does research, cultivates knowledge. The professorial person is called a Brahmana because cultivation of knowledge is main forte. He cultivates knowledge, he does research, and therefore he is a person who is devoted to knowledge. some people who are there's a common syndrome in all conferences. I have been all over the world. Just the conference, international conference in Paris, the mind always moves me. So it's not unique to India, Asia, society. It's a common syndrome all over the world. Mind, if it doesn't, if it behaves well, there's something wrong with it. So Arjuna was refusing to do his brother. That which is allotted to him. Here, modern world once again, everybody has a particular Swadharma. Not because he is born in it, because of attitude, this is the statement in the Lord Gita. This happens every day. The night man in the night. If we don't get irritated and laugh it away, we'll be happy. Some people get irritated at every point for everything. So the Swadharma idea is very important. Because according to your guna, quality, capacity, and karma, your vocation, your Swadharma is defined. The person teaching in the university or a college, he performs the professorial Brahmana cultivation of knowledge and doing research. That is his Swadharma. The person who is in the military, the armed forces, etc., his Swadharma is to fight for his country. And a person who does business, generation of wealth and distribution of wealth, and a person who serves the society in whatever capacity. Shudra is not a bad word, unfortunately it became so later on because of the arrogance of the upper castes and Brahmins. So he serves society unselfishly, he is also equally regarded. In our Purusha Sutta it is said, Shudras came from the feet of God. And many of these people who fight for the rights of the marginalized people say this is an insult to these people. So on the Tapasyanati of revered memory, he was one of the vice presidents, said, we worship the feet of God or on the head of God. Nobody puts flowers on the head of God, feet of God. These are the people who are worthy of worship because if they do not perform, the whole society will crumble. Vivekananda famously said, if all the cleaners and sweepers in Calcutta strike for 1 week, plague will spread everywhere. They are the people who are holding the society. So in those days, the Varnashrama Dharma is the Swadharma. In the modern context, what is Swadharma? According to your taste, according to your temperament, according to your ability, according to your quality, according to your proclivity, according to your interest. Somebody may be deeply interested in theoretical research. If you put him into the experiments, he will always fail. Some people are deeply interested in music.